hobby with reckless abandon.
Why, hello, and welcome to Season 21, Episode 20 of the Happy Jack's RPG Podcast. My name is Stu.
My name is Kimmy.
And I'm Jim.
And I'm Mike.
Your mic on? Check that. There's a switch on the thing. Yours is good. You're good.
Okay.
Uh,
They're right there.
Now
nope,
talk.
over there.
There.
No, it's
How about
okay.
now?
You're good.
You're
All
on.
right.
Yeah.
And I'm Jim, now
you
that my
go.
mic works.
Seamless.
And that's Mike, but his mic already worked.
Oh,
You would expect that, though.
Hey,
Yeah, well, he's an engineer.
So, thank you guys for coming back.
yeah.
Well, thanks for having us.
We got a game convention coming up next weekend.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Gamex.
Gamex 2018. Very excited. We have actually some kind of new and interesting things. Well, new and old things. On
Let me do
schedule.
I'll do
Go
the
for
intro.
it. Go for it. Go for it.
Just a brief thing. In this episode, we're going to be talking to Jim and Mike about the convention and what's going on, and I always have questions about conventions and stuff like that. So there's that, and then also Steffi from Scotland takes umbrage with the D&D religion conversation we had over the last couple episodes. And then Hoyle sent us a story about languages and games. But first, if you'd like to email us, you can email us at happyjacksrpg@gmail.com.
Blurb.
That's happyjacksrpg@gmail.com. We're also on the social media. We're on Twitter, happyjacksrpg, all one word.
Yep.
And on Instagram, happyjacksrpg, all one word.
Yep.
And also on Facebook, happyjacksrpg, all one word.
Yep.
And if you want to watch the show live, we record the show at usually 7, but not tonight, p.m. Pacific time. You can go to happyjacks.org/live on Friday nights, and you can watch the show live as we stream it. And, of course, Saturdays and Sundays and Mondays and Wednesdays, we have actual plays as well.
So
Same
many actual
place.
plays.
Yes.
They're awesome, though.
I wish that I played as many games as you guys do, just on the actual plays.
There's a lot. We have a big group, though.
I haven't played anything since March.
Yeah, he hasn't played
Wow.
in months.
Fair.
Yeah.
And also, this is the last weekend of the Renaissance Pleasure Fair.
Yeah.
Huzzah.
So if you'd like to come out and see us on Saturday or Sunday, we have 3 shows at the Rogues Reef, and we're at the Royal Music Stage at like 5.
Let me tell you, as
45.
somebody who is somewhat unaffiliated with you guys, we know each other through con. I've seen your show several times. If you haven't seen one of these live shows, they're amazing, and you really should go.
Thank you.
They're really
Thank you
super
very
fun.
much. It looks like a chaotic clusterfuck.
But
Say that.
I'm into that. So
Right. People.
He's really into that.
really into that.
Thank you. So anyway, back we're talking about the game convention. What do you got?
Game convention.
What's going on?
The game convention, which is next weekend,
Next weekend.
which is Friday through Monday of nonstop gaming
Yep.
over
Hold
the
on.
weekend.
Tappy's in the chat room. He says, that's my old gaming group.
Yep. Hey, how's it going, Matt? Love you, man.
Wait, who's
Tappy, I told you. I said Mike and Jim want to come on, so I need to bump some people, and you said you would be bumped.
I don't think he processed. He's really used to his brain being dehydrated, so actually having being back in civilization, having water constantly, not being in the desert, he doesn't process information the same way he probably should.
Yeah, but see,
He will blossom like one of those tea flowers. Just
but you should have bumped Tappy. Of all things, we could have told even more goofy-ass roleplay
Well,
stories.
next time, before the next convention, we'll definitely have Tappy in.
I will definitely give you a reminder when I request.
Hell yeah.
Because I love that man. I hadn't seen him in so long. He was at the last convention.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
walked up,
Oh,
kissed
it's
him right
great.
in the
Oh,
mouth.
it's so great. It was awesome.
Man loves
yeah.
the best.
It is. When you're not afraid to express it, it's actually awesome.
Yeah. Embrace it.
But speaking of love, we love the con, and we have some lovely things coming up here. Shameless. So we have some really cool RPG special guests. We have one of the designers of 13th Age. Man, now I can't remember his name. Wade, no.
It's not my department. I don't know. Oh, Wade Rocket. Yeah.
Yeah, Wade Rocket.
Wade Rocket. Yeah. Damn, that's not my department. Why do I know that guy's name?
Because you're awesome.
Because you're awesome and you have a great memory
Yeah.
compared to me, and also Jim Pinto's back. So if you're aware of Post World Games, some of the best GM-less role-playing games out there. Super fun. He's going to be running sessions all through the weekend, and so will Wade. One of the things that we're personally very excited about is, as you know, we used to have a game called Artemis. And if you're not familiar with a game called Artemis, it's a bridge simulator. So it's basically like the Star Trek bridge.
It's like a bunch of computers networked together.
Exactly.
Nice.
Every station has its own computer, and there's a captain, and all he sees is the tactical on the projector screen. And
Well, he has multiple views, but he doesn't change them.
the people at the controls actually control
Yep.
everything. All he does is
that's
point
great.
fingers and say, fire, fire. And so there's engineering, there's communications, there's helm, there's weapons.
Science.
And science.
Yeah.
And so every player fills one of those positions, including captain, and you run through a scenario in a space, an area of space with a lot of space stations and other enemy ships and friendly ships and stuff like that. And it's like a half-hour session of you basically playing Star Trek.
Galaxy Quest, if it's your first time.
Yeah. But the one of the best things about it, especially for our staff, is when Rusty used to run it, is he would open it up at midnight on Saturday to staff.
Sunday
to staff.
The last session was just for us because when they first brought it there, it took some time to really build up steam, and then it got so popular that the second the sign-up sheets hit the table, they were full.
Right.
And so he wanted to give staff a time to play, so it was Sunday at midnight.
So we would, before around 10 o'clock, we'd all collect in the lounge. We'd start drinking rum and cokes, get nicely sauced, go downstairs and play Star Trek,
Nice.
play Artemis, and it just throwing nukes at space liners and stuff like that. It's just it's just
awesome.
amazing.
Yeah.
But what the convention did, since the guy that traditionally ran it for us just had a large dispute with the game designer, stopped doing it. So we missed it so much, we actually found somebody to run it and bought the equipment, and now it's the property of the convention.
Yes,
Oh, really?
fully
And
funded. Yeah,
fully
so
funded
it's
by
gonna-
us, so
it's going to stick around. And
It'll be around, yeah.
Yeah, and it's first time back, so bear with us. It's been a little while, but
Yeah.
God, I can't wait.
But we got the HP all-in-one, so it's a touch screen, so you can
Nice.
actually control everything. We have a joystick for the guy who wants to do if they want to do the joystick. So you can do keyboard control, touchscreen control, or joystick control, depending if you're the helmsman. We have the full projector set up with a good sound system. It's going to be awesome. So if you're interested at all in something like that, come on down and check that out because it's not only board games. We do every single kind of game, and like I said, Friday to Monday nonstop. There are werewolf games well into 4 a.m.
There's knitting.
There's
There's
everything.
knitting?
There's knitting. We have two knitting events. We have a regular group of people who crochet and knit on Saturday mornings, and this is the first time we've had it. We essentially have a knitting crochet 101 learn to kind of thing on Friday night, and it's
cool.
the first time doing that. And we even actually have the basic supplies available for you there if you need them.
Yeah,
So-
and there are a lot of things other than gaming that are gaming related that we offer too. We actually have some seminars. One is very interesting. It's women in the gaming and the challenges that they face in a male-dominated hobby.
Nice.
So that's going to be a really cool panel. My senior volunteer, Carla Freeman, is in that panel, and she is just fantastic. She works for a lot for Steve Jackson Games and does a lot of demos for them, and organizes my department. And I wouldn't be able to do what I do without her. She is just fantastic.
That actually falls on me because she organizes what her husband does for me. So thank you, Carla, if you're watching.
Yeah, you do way too much, and we should be paying you. But
Yay for
nonetheless,
kick-ass women who organize shit.
exactly.
You're my kind of woman.
exactly.
Speaking of, Lori should have been here.
Yeah. Well, maybe next time. Who knows?
No, his wife works for me at my headquarters at Miniatures, and that's not my place. I learned that the hard way last con because I missed half my HQ staff got the flu.
Oh no.
Oh, we got
Last con was hard because of that.
a literal
Yeah.
decimation, like 10% drop in everything.
Every department.
Except for we still broke the record on attendees, but like I lost 10% of my events, half my staff was gone, and then I realized first because Lori's not a morning person.
Oh, no.
I had to be down there to run my headquarters first thing in the morning, and I realized I didn't know how to do it anymore
Oh no!
because Lori and Jody specifically kind of just I hand them the stuff and go, here's how I'd kind of like it done, and they ran with it, and it's super efficient. And then I get there and screw everything up.
Well, I told Mike when he's like, dude, you're doing too much work. You need to build a machine, get some competent people, and just turn it on and walk away.
Boy, and how.
Yeah.
And it works really well.
Yeah. Which is one of the secrets of running a convention: delegation, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Volunteers.
Yeah.
They're the key.
Well, that's the thing though is we depend on volunteers a crazy amount. So thank you to all volunteers out there,
Absolutely.
game masters, volunteers, everything else.
Yeah. You guys are awesome. we play games because you're there.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Well, we're looking really forward to it. It's going to be very exciting.
You're doing the show. I won't be there, but you're
Yeah,
doing the show.
I'm doing a show. So that worked great last year, so I can probably do it again. It'll be great. And Jim covers my ass when I make mistakes about stuff. So
It's like, did you get a room for the podcast? Oh, I was supposed to do that?
Okay,
Yeah,
sorry.
let's figure that out.
Yeah, you got to put it on the
That
schedule.
was last year. I know I
Yeah,
did.
put it on the
This
schedule.
year he emailed me way in advance. He's like, "Are you doing this again?" I was like, "Yes." Thank you, because I didn't remember to do that. And then I registered my game for the wrong time, and he emailed me. He's like, "Is that what you meant?" I was like, "No, I need to do this at the time." So he fixed that too.
And the wrong department.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man, I was in a hurry because I suddenly.
Technically, it goes in seminar arts, but I'll fix that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I got that phone call tonight, actually, at dinner. So
damn it. Yeah, because I looked at the day with like the pre-reg was going up, and I was like, "Oh my god, none of us have registered any of our games." So we all frantically registered like 10 minutes before noon.
Is that Allie?
Might be.
Because I recognize that dress, I think.
Yeah, that's her hair.
Yeah.
Look at this.
That is, I think that's,
Yeah.
I think Allie's.
Her daughter's, his daughter's on the Strategicon website.
Oh,
Oh,
awesome.
really?
Yeah. I think
She's a star.
She's a star. But yeah, I'm running 2 games, which is the first time I've run more than 1 game. So that's a great idea. And so I'm running Wild Talents in the morning. I still haven't come up with my concept, but it'll be great. And it'll be fine. And then I'm running in the afternoon. I'm running the first ever game of Demigods, where someone else besides Jason is GMing.
Oh, excellent.
And Jason's super hyper stressed out about that.
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, I have a game at that same time. I'm running Demigods at that same. I can't watch you do it." I'm like, "It'll be fine, Jason. It'll be okay." He's like, "Maybe we should run like a thing before, and you can run it for a group of people with me watching."
No, this is like a real play test.
Yeah, I'm
Just
like,
give me the
"No,
rule
it's
book
cool."
and I'll read it. Right.
I've been playing it a lot. I play tested it a bunch of times. I'm in the first campaign of it. Like, I can do this. It'll be great. And he's like, "Okay."
Before I let you play with my baby, I just want to make sure.
I know. He's so cute about it.
I still want someone to run Bloodblade or
Moment of truth.
Moment of Truth.
Yeah.
No one's stepped up. A couple
I think
people have thought.
I want to watch it for a campaign first.
Okay.
That's my thing, is because like I played in one, but that was a couple generations of it ago.
The rules are final now.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, I am still putting my money where my mouth is on here. If you show up with an original game that you designed, I will have a sheet out there for people to vote. Actually, it'll be a little box with some tickets. People to vote for their favorite original game.
Awesome.
And it's a $50 prize, guys. So, it's one of those things where I really want to encourage people that want to be creative, that might have this game that they just never exposed to anybody, or just have an idea for something and never had the incentive to develop it.
Yeah.
Bring it on over here. There are plenty of great people. I mean, this RPG community is just fantastic, and they're great attitude, great feedback. So, go ahead, take that step, take the risk. You never know what'll happen. And honestly, even if it's just a couple of people have a really great time playing your game, it's a win.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you don't have to be serious about being part of the game industry or anything, but do a thing, make it.
Yeah.
Making something out of nothing is one of the greatest things that you could do. It's awesome.
100%.
And a lot of work.
yeah, well, that's true. In the miniatures community, homebrew rules are a long-standing tradition.
Yeah.
And you find some great little, it's like, wow, that was a lot of fun. And they don't ever want to go anymore with it, but that's the thing that they do, and they have a good time with it. And
Yeah.
Yeah. So, another thing that happened in RPGs. But.
Highly encourage homebrewing.
Yeah, I mean, and the raw creative nature of the RPG hobby in and of itself. I mean, I don't know if anybody that really takes the hobby seriously and spent a lot of time on it that hasn't at least tinkered with the idea of creating their own system.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't want to create the mechanic system. I just want to create like the worlds that will go. Like I want to like I have an idea for Stu's Moment of Truth game for like a different setting because he's looking for that. And then, so I like making the pretty layer on top.
The fluff.
The world building. Yeah. Well,
yes, there we go. Fluff or crunch. I don't know if we were allowed to use those terms anymore. I thought we were banned.
Well, no, Tappy's not here.
Oh,
He's
okay.
the chat room. He's good.
That would just start a big fight.
Actually,
Yes.
So we should use those terms exclusively just to annoy him?
You let Tappy enforce things? Oh, man, he's a far higher class person in this group than he was in ours.
Well, yeah.
Oh, we love you, Tappy.
he's the only person who reads rule books.
He'll read anything.
Well, I don't read rule books.
He like really reads them too.
Yeah.
Like he memorizes them. It's amazing.
I have no.
Yet he
religion.
follows none of the rules.
Mike, malign him while he's not here. Oh yeah, he's like lol lol lol
Yeah.
lol lol lol.
Actually, to be perfectly honest, real quick Tappy story about him knowing the rules so well, specifically to mess with Al.
Yeah.
Only because he enjoyed pointing out every time Al was wrong. Not to correct him, just to be a dick
Just
to
to
Al.
be a dick.
Yeah. It's-
But that's okay, because Al totally deserved it.
the thing is, in our group of friends, we just wanted to beat that kind of weakness out of you of caring what other people think about you.
Wow, did
Own
you
it
succeed with
and
Tappy?
stop caring. Well, he got beat into that harder than just about anybody else. To be honest with you,
You might have gone a little too far.
A little bit too far. I
Like
have to
him,
say.
like throwing off all of society and going and living in a living.
Which is why every time I see him, I just want to give him extra hugs because
Yeah.
I feel kind of bad.
I'm sorry that I broke you.
So you're the guys that drove him out of civilization?
No, I don't think we drove him out of civilization.
I was blaming myself, but I figured.
Everybody wants to take blame for that. Tappy has been removed from civilization. Who wants to take the credit?
It's a goulash of sociopathy that we've all basically thrown our bit into it. That sound about right?
Yeah, that's actually probably very accurate.
Yeah.
It's what it is it's team nihilism.
Oh,
Actually, that's a great name for the group. Team Nihilism.
yeah.
Who would go but me?
So what's going on with Warhammer at the con?
Oh, good. Are you taking? Oh, you're not going. So you've
I'm
made
not going, no.
You have all the minis ever.
They're not done. They're not done. They're not ready.
Well, that depends. Do you play for fun or do you play to crush your foes?
I would just like to
He
play.
doesn't play yet. He's
that's
still
a shame.
painting.
I just paint them and love them.
Well, that's a start because funny thing about miniatures players is some paint and love never play and some never bother to paint.
That's
Well, see, I want to play,
Okay,
So,
and I paint for shit.
never bother to paint, but plays.
shut up. I painted plenty of
Hardly ever plays, but loves to paint.
I think I'm probably in the second camp.
things. Well, honestly, I prefer to assemble and build stuff. I'm okay with it. I'm partially colorblind, so back off. Now, so for Warhammer specifically, is one thing we started. Actually, last con was our first one. Is ITC I forget what it stands for, but essentially it's a Frontline Gaming in San Diego. Essentially, kind of run all the big tournament stuff for GW now. So they've got all the tournament structure, and they've got this monster.
Well, the way that ITC works...
Independent tournament circuit.
That's it.
Yeah.
Words are hard.
So the way that it works is that you play in these ITC games, and participation in these ITC games gives you a slot in the larger tournaments.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you get points based on where you finish and the size of the tournament, and if you beat a certain threshold, they hold their own convention in Las Vegas. So it's usually 2 or 3 weeks before OrcCon is, and that's their huge finals. And
That would be in January.
yeah, it's either early, like the very first part of February, or the end of January.
Okay.
And they do it in Vegas, and so people are out there, and you know any store can hold these things up to a certain point. And you have to play a certain number to qualify, have a certain number of points to qualify, and it's not just for Warhammer. They do other games as well. Warhammer is just by far the largest.
Well, in the U.S., Warhammer 40K is the dominant game that GW produces, by far.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about it is that the larger the ITC tournament that you're in, the more potential points you can rack
Yep.
up. So playing at someplace like the Strategic Conventions, you're going to get a far larger turnout than you would in your normal like comic book or game store. They'll have like maybe 3 or 4 tables. So if you really want to get into that tournament scene, it's a pretty good place to play.
Right now we've dedicated enough space for 30 players,
Nice.
Okay.
and it's a 2-day tournament, which is their mid range. And if you hit all 3 of our cons, I think you can conceivably just in that get enough points to qualify for Vegas.
Oh, really?
And then, but if you want to play for fun, the SoCal Crusaders basically run an apocalypse game, which is 40K on crack. It's all the regular 40K stuff plus all the giant stuff you can get, and they play both days. But their thing is they play more for fun, and if you just want to try the game, they'll hand you stuff. Say, here, this is yours. My 8-year-old played a Titan last time until he died, until they run it into the ground about 6 hours later. But that's all he did. I mean, he's supposed to be working for me, but no, he got to play a giant robot, the biggest thing on the table, and he was happy.
Oh yeah.
Of course.
At some point, can't he just like put him on the table with like a costume?
That's what I said. Just dress him up as an Imperator Titan, man. He's at the right scale.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Yeah, he's already got the Vader mask, so he's kind of close already. So
So what faction was it? the Titan?
Corn. It was Chaos,
Okay.
which he's okay with because it's already red. And he before he knew what 40K was, he knew what Blood for the Blood God was.
Parenting done right.
Well, my kid is a flat out weirdo, but that's a whole other story.
My friend Mitch, who's a really cool, close friend of mine, him and his wife, the very first thing that he ever heard come out of my mouth, he walked into the game store and some idiot in the back was yelling, "Blood for the Blood God!" That idiot was me. And now he's one of the biggest 40K players I know.
Oh, that's awesome.
I have to start painting my minis again.
I'm not letting myself start that. Like, I was, like, really tempted when he started it because I like painting minis.
Oh, painting minis, not Blood for the Blood God.
Oh, no. No. But,
Yeah, that's a slippery slope.
Yeah, no.
I've got a zine charm.
Yeah. But he started, I was like, oh, I could do that. That'd be really nice and, like, something calm to do at home in my spare time. Never mind. I don't have any spare time. Never mind.
Yeah.
I got another extra box of Chaos
I
Space
know,
Marines.
I know.
No. Look, you're saying you're down the wrong path. Skirmish game, dozen models,
Okay,
something
maybe.
small.
Yeah.
What's the? They came out with a small game.
Okay, well, Games Workshop has lived up to their name and started making more than 3 games.
What?
Yeah, there's
I know.
something came out like
Necromunda,
Necromunda.
Yeah.
which is one
There's
of them.
Rogue Trader just came out.
Rogue Trader.
Yeah.
I love those minis.
Is that actually out yet?
No, but they already previewed the minis.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be
Yes.
out next month, I believe.
Okay, I already said this in the last podcast, but I'm super, super fucking stoked about this. Like, because it's like my one thing that makes me really super annoyed with Warhammer minis. The Rogue Traders, there's like this badass, fucking amazing, like, female warrior, and she's got boots on that don't have high heels.
Yep.
They're just regular boots that you could actually walk in.
Well,
It's very
actually,
exciting.
if you've seen the new render for the new Plastic Sister of Battle, they
Yes,
actually
I saw those too. Those
Gorgeous.
are very cool. So good.
Gorgeous.
And
Yeah.
I'm just like looking at them. Like, I could totally cosplay that. I could totally make that.
As a
That'd be so
Catholic,
cool.
I am actually completely compelled to build a sister's army. And actually, I pulled out. I have some medals that I got back in the '90s, and that I'm redoing in anticipation
Yeah.
for that. So.
Way to be woke, GW. Way to be woke.
There's a game. It looks like it's almost like a dungeon crawl, and you pick a faction.
Oh yeah, that's it actually has cards. What's the name of it?
It has cards?
Yeah, Shadespire.
Shadespire. That's
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, and actually it's great. And there's also Blood Bowl, which is like the fantasy football game.
Right.
That
Now,
you
did
just-
they originally produce Blood Bowl, or was
Yeah,
it something
yeah,
else?
yeah.
Okay,
It was
'cause
back in the
way
day.
long time ago. I used to
So
have them.
Blood Bowl's story started with Dungeon Bowl, which was a boxed elf versus dwarf in a dungeon kind of football game. Then it came out as a regular game, multiple iterations of it, and then they took the rule set and GW kind of gave it to the world, and they had like a committee that every year met, went over the rules, and said these are the changes for the year. It was called the Living Rulebook. It was available online for free for everybody. And then they recently released the version of the game again, brand new box with those rules.
Oh, really? Okay.
and an
Yeah.
amazing set of models.
They're fantastic.
Well, the model quality coming out of that studio is just ridiculous nowadays.
and then they brought back Warhammer Quest, but now it's Silver Tower,
right.
which is another dungeon crawl, which is really cool.
Which comes with a brick of models that are all gorgeous. Actually, a bunch of Zangors. If you like Thousand Suns, you
Oh,
get some
really?
really cool Zangors out of that box set.
Well, that's the thing is most of the stuff you fight in there is because it's the Silver
Silver Tower of Zinch.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
right.
all the bad guys are sort of Zinchy bad guys. You get a bunch of horrors and stuff like that too. So.
Tons of horrors, Zangors, 2 different sorcerers, an ogre magi. I mean, there's all kinds of crazy shit in that box. Yeah.
Yeah, and there were rules for like all of the different like flamers of Zinch, all the different Zinch demons in there too. You can bring from the outside.
Cool.
But yeah, they're doing skirmish games like crazy. Like they keep coming out with more and more of them.
Yeah.
But one of the great things is that skirmish games are they're using it sort of as a gateway. If you buy this skirmish game, sure, it's only 5 or 6 models, but you fall in love with the hobby, you fall in love with the models.
Oh, that's
and
exactly
hopefully
what happened when I got the little No Fear starter set that looked like 5 Space Marines and some
That's
of the
exactly
undead
right.
dudes.
That's the tactic. It's like, here, buy this thing. It's not all. It's like $100 for the whole thing. You get a board and all this neat stuff.
And they all
Fine, great.
snap together real easy.
and they make them easy fit ones, and then you're like putting it. Man, this is really cool. And then you start looking it up online, and
then Zachary's like, we should go
next
see
thing
if
you
they
know-
got any more.
next thing you know, you're $2,000 in the hole, going, where did my
Son
life
of
go?
a bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it can get expensive.
No, I
It
know.
can get
You showed me a
expensive.
couple. I was like, oh man, that's a.
Well, I was gonna buy because I was gonna buy Magnus the Red. Mm-hmm. I'm like, every time I saw the box, I'm like, why is this thing like, it's like $120 or something.
Yeah, it's like
really
this
expensive.
freaking tall.
But it's not in that big of a box.
Yep.
You don't realize.
You
the
got to
box
put
is
the
like
pieces together, man.
But the dude is like that tall.
yeah. Massive wings. It's a gorgeous model.
Yeah, it is.
Because I had
Him and Mortarion.
I have what's his Aramon?
Aramon, yeah.
I have Aramon, and he's like, he's on a saucer, so he's like, I don't know, probably about 3 inches, 3.5
right.
inches tall. And I'm like, well, Magnus can't. Why is this? He said, it can't be that much better. And then I saw a picture in one of the White Dwarf magazines. I'm like, oh fuck.
Oh yeah, it's the difference between a sorcerer and a demon prince.
Right.
It's, yeah. But yeah, and
Slash Primarch.
Primarch, just sick. And Bobby G is also really cool. The Gilliman Primarch, he stands about that tall. He's just super badass.
Nice.
With all this gold filigree all over him,
Right.
it's just really cool.
Yeah, the models are ridiculous. I mean, that's always been their strong point.
Yeah, Citadel models have just always been really, really good. Then there was a point where a lot of other companies were catching up, and then during this sort of renaissance of GW, we've seen in the last couple of years that it's like they've been leaving everything in its dust.
Yeah, they put the pedal down, and it's starting to open back up again.
Yeah.
So, are there any RPGs that got submitted that you're excited to see, or anything new that besides Kimmy's?
Besides Kimmy's. Actually, as most of the people that know me and know how I operate in this con, I always just pick one game where I just sort of elbow my way in and I go, it's mine, and this is my right as king.
Yes.
So this time around, I'm actually playing Entomb's Candles game.
Nice.
Oh, it's such a fun game.
On Friday, and because the way he described it last time, I'm like, all right, I absolutely positively have to play on that. And when I saw it on the schedule again, I'm like, I'm in. So I'm thrilled about that. I'm actually also I played in Jim Pinto's Odin's Eye a couple of years back, which was a super, super fun game. It's basically a game where you're in a search and rescue vessel, and you get an emergency call, and then things go south from there. And it uses Jim Pinto's sort of narrative system where the mechanic revolves around you building scenes. So he has like vignettes, which are one-on-one scenes, or expository scenes where you just narrate what's going on. And then it gives you sort of guides as to what you need to do in that. And also each character has a certain amount of these scenes that they can do per game. So once you've run out of being able, you can only do one vignette and you can't do any more. So you have to try to use the other scenes to do whatever you want as part of the narrative element of the game. Super fun game. We didn't get to finish it, unfortunately, but he's running it again, so I'm excited about playing in that. Let's see what else. Syntheside, it's sort of like this cool little indie game. It's sort of like a cyberpunk game that the game designer always comes over to con and runs and promotes. It's a really fun little game. I've looked at it, but I haven't played it, so I'm actually thinking about maybe getting in a game of that. I'm also really kind of excited about playing some stuff in miniatures too, because our friend Frank, who also helps run miniatures, is running an Alpha Strike game, which is BattleTech, but it's a little bit more fast-paced than the regular BattleTech. But Mike and I have been playing the new BattleTech, the Harebrained Schemes video game for the past couple of weeks, and we're just so excited about the game. It's just super fun that we just actually...
Yeah, it's the most fun I've ever had playing a BattleTech game ever.
And
It's
so we're joking about
turn-based,
playing
and
it.
it's
It's excellent. So I'm excited about getting some tabletop version of that getting played too.
Nice.
Of course, Artemis. I'm super excited about playing Artemis.
That's awesome.
And just generally enjoying the con. I mean, it's sometimes it gets difficult for the people that actually run this convention to play in a lot of games. Usually, I have lofty ambitions, and I end up playing maybe one or two of the things that I actually plan on playing, just because you get pulled away to handle certain things, put out fires and whatnot. But one of the things that I love about this con is the just incredible variety of things to do, and it's such there are a lot of times where I'm just walking around a corner and I see something interesting, and I'm like, can I play it? But and then you discover a whole new world of gaming. We're really excited too because we're seeing sort of a reinvigoration of our LARP department.
Oh, nice.
We have a new person heading it up. She seems to have a lot of energy and a lot of great new ideas. And once again, I think it was one of the game types that are a little bit underserviced at our convention. We're trying to promote up and get more people to experience them. And we're thinking about restarting more 101s for it, and getting some games to sort of draw people that may be curious about LARPing but never really tried it. Because one of the things about LARPing is that sometimes the players tend to be a little bit clannish. Just because of the nature of the game and the fact that I think that a lot of people just have a poor opinion of LARPs for some odd reason that I just don't understand. I mean, it's just role-playing standing up. Yeah. So it's a big deal.
Well, it was different. It was a punching bag when you were younger when you didn't get it. It's just the way it was.
Yeah. So, but, we're trying to change people's attitudes towards it and trying to say it's not just a bunch of dudes dressed up in KISS outfits with foam swords. It's a whole different type of thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of different types of play.
I have to say, like, I was one of those people who was kind of like, seems a little weird to me. It seems more like improv than like gaming, but as I've gotten more into like PBTA games and games that are more kind of free form, and as I've gotten to know, like, I'm actually really great friends with a lot of people who it turns out are LARPers, and talking to them about like how much they enjoy it and like what it like brings to their life. I am now LARP curious. So.
But see, LARPing is no different than regular role playing. The thing is a lot of it, whether it's the style of game or the genre or whatever it happens to be, if that doesn't interest you, it's like, I don't care.
Yeah.
And that's how it was, because when I was younger, most of the LARPs that I was exposed to in my formative days of role-playing, it was vampire. And I just, on its face, I hate vampires. My first vampire game, I played a werewolf who was hunting vampires.
Right.
I hated vampires. But my first LARPer...
Sparkly or non-sparkly?
Both.
Oh, okay.
Sparkly's worse, but that's beside the point. My first LARP that I actually went to was the 5 Rings one we did at the con.
Oh, that was
years
fun.
upon years ago.
This was back when we were at the Radisson, and we had the little cabanas outside that we had our RPGs.
Pre-2000.
Yeah, and John Wick actually ran a LARP, and they drew straws, and the people that won got to play samurai, but everybody else got to play Oni and goblins and stuff.
Oh, really?
So everybody got to play.
Yeah.
But it
was a combat game. It wasn't like a court game.
Yeah, it was a court game. It actually was combat and court.
Oh, it was, okay.
They had...
so what it was, for those of you familiar with the old setting, it was the Siege of Haruma Castle. That was the castle that was lost in the Shadowlands, and the crabs and the ratlings went to basically claim it back, and then they got stuck there and surrounded. And so it was them basically trying to survive.
The Haruma.
And the rest of us were goblins trying to kill them all.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And they had like some magic bells.
What kind of court game are you going to have with crabs and ratlings?
Well, the ratlings are probably more prone.
Yeah, well, the ratlings might actually have diplomacy.
Yeah,
that's true. I think the Naga were there too, which still is not making my case at all. But
diplomacy at the end of a Tetsubo works well too.
Right, sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
But one of the things that happened was there was like these sort of bells that when they were rung, they would cause the Shadowlands to freeze or something like that. And what a bunch of the goblins and Oni ended up doing was stacking feces and dead bodies all the way around the bells, so the samurai would lose honor trying to touch them and activate them. So
that's messed up but amazing at the same time.
Absolutely,
and in addition to the fact that it was just really fun to play, this became a storyline thing. This determined the outcome for the next book too.
Yeah, so because it was actually done by Alderac Games, who produced the game, and they said, and they had a long tradition of their card game. Results of tournaments actually affecting the storyline, which was a fantastic idea. So they actually put that over to the role playing game as well, which is fun. But LARPing is more than just a bunch of sullen people wearing too much makeup and trench coats, trying to look cooler than each other. There's a lot more to it. And
see, I'd be very interested in playing an L5R LARP. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we can try to figure out somebody that might be able to run that. I mean, John Wick is still around. He actually last year he actually ran. He produced another samurai role playing game under his own production banner. Blood and Honor, and there was a Blood and Honor LARP that actually there were 2 role playing sessions that led up to the actual LARP and set up the events that happened in the LARP. And I was playing a scorpion in that, and it was just super fun. Blood everywhere, everybody dies. It was great. It's just a bunch of opium enriched thugs killing a bunch of samurai, which is actually kind of fun. So yeah, I mean, just check out. It's a lot of things about just about anything. I mean, a mind only really works when it's open. So just if you have an open mind about gaming and you just want to peek in and try some things out, there's no better place to do it than some place like Gen Con or Orcon or any of these places where you're going to have this incredible variety of things. Expose yourself to new stuff, guys. It's fun.
So how do you participate in a LARP? Do you have to? I mean, is it sign up like with the RPGs? Do you have to talk
just
to the
like any
groups
other
ahead of
event?
time? Okay.
It's just like any other event.
That's cool.
There are usually a lot of organizations that bring a bunch of people to play because they guarantee that they get their game off that way.
Right.
But there are always open slots where it's something that we demand as a convention is that
Nice.
you
allow
really,
outsiders.
You have to allow
Right.
regular attendees to play. We're not really about you sort of like having your own little private party at our expense.
Yeah.
But LARPs do. The thing about the LARPs is, okay, the new person in charge of LARPs is super focused on getting new people in. She wants to grow, which is great because there's going to be events that are specifically for, I want to check this out. So she calls it a showcase where there'll be multiple kinds. Like one of the ones that she's pushing right now is Starship Valkyrie, which basically is a LARP version of
Star Trek.
Yeah, it's just like Artemis without the computers. I mean, you're doing the same stuff,
Putting those together.
right?
Oh, shit.
Right?
Write it down.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I know. Well, anyway, but some of these events are like year-ending, huge storyline type things, and they want to do their stuff, and there's ways for you into that as well. But a lot of these events, yeah, you just sign up. And they're in public. Like she wants space on the second floor, just next to party games and role playing, so you can see them and you can join.
Nice.
And they're all, and you can check out the list of them that we have on the website, and or if when you're at the con, they'll all be listed in the con book as well. So there's really very little at this convention where the only thing that'll bar you from access is if it's already full and you've showed up a little bit too late.
Yeah.
Or Saber Legion.
Or Saber Legion, because you actually have to know what you're doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in
that's
Saber
important.
Legion. You don't want to get...
What's Saber Legion?
Saber Legion is a Star Wars lightsaber combat league.
Oh, yeah, those were the guys out in the little veranda thing.
Yeah.
They were right under our hotel room this last time, so my husband and I just sat and watched them for a really long time. It was really, really impressive, actually. It was so cool.
Yeah, under the guise of it being a lightsaber Star Wars thing, it's actually mixed martial art
Yeah, they're
that brings
super
together.
trained. Yeah.
That they practice. Our friend Kay, who's the leader of that organization, actually practiced kendo for several years. And sort of keeps this as a way in his old age to sort of keep in practice. But there are a lot of very committed guys, and you have German longsword, rapier style, kendo style, all these different types of melee styles represented. People that are actually trained in those styles fighting against each other. So you have a guy with like two lightsabers doing sort of an Eskrima type style combat versus a guy who's straight up kendo with the one lightsaber, and you get to actually see what combat would be between those two different disparate martial arts. So it's basically a sword MMA under the guise of Star Wars. It's very entertaining to watch.
That's awesome.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and they use it, and their hope is that you see it, like it, think it's cool, and want to join.
Yeah, this is part of a recruitment thing for them because they want to grow. It's apparently very large in the Midwest, and they're trying to really grow it out here in the West Coast.
Yeah. I know there's a big group of them that do that at Comic-Con, actually.
Yeah.
Like one of the balconies at Comic-Con, you walk out there by accident and suddenly there's like this battle happening and you're like, oh.
So, the thing that we really want to, for people that are interested in watching that is like, if you're expecting to see sort of the acrobatic Star Wars people flipping around and doing all kinds, that's not what this is. This is not. This is actual legitimate sort of like, I touched you with the sword, it's a point, it's like a fencing match.
Yeah.
It's actually a little bit more clinical than the sort of for show type of type of fighting.
Definitely.
But it's still very
Which actually
interesting.
makes it more interesting, I think.
I think so too, yeah.
Because it's not CGI.
Well, that, and it's also, there's that. It's no
It's an
wires.
actual sport.
Yeah.
No stuntmen. Yeah, they're wearing actual armor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't do like 80 takes until it looks absolutely perfect.
Yeah. And and also the guys that are sitting there playing D&D going, I know how a naginata works because I play D&D. Here, you really want to know how a naginata works? Here's a guy that's actually wielding something like a naginata, and you can ask him, how does that work?
Yeah, that's
and
right.
find out, So there's a lot of cross-platform stuff. Yeah.
Cloak72 in the chat room mentioned a lightsaber tetsubo. Are there any of those?
That would be a heavy lightsaber. I'm
That would be
certain.
amazing.
Well, there is a guy there who uses because most of them can be used one-handed, but there's a couple that are so long and large that they are too
pike form is actually very
That's
popular.
true too.
Yeah.
Which is a very long shaft with a lightsaber tip at the end. So it works a lot like a spear or something like that. And so, I mean, and not only that, but they also bring out vendors that actually make these custom lightsabers.
Yeah.
And they are freaking amazing.
So
they are.
fucking cool.
They are.
Like some of them are like laser etched with all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff on them. They're just amazing, and they have little bits in there that do the sound and the light and all that
Right.
stuff.
I wanted
just amazing.
I wanted all of them.
Yeah, you
That's
just
just
want to
like,
buy all of them.
oh, God.
One of them actually made the dark saber from Rebels.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It looked
Oh yeah.
fantastic.
My 8-year-old was all over. He goes, Dad, I want. I know you want that.
I know
Yeah,
you want.
wow.
Yeah, you live in a world of I want here, kid.
Yeah, it looks really cool too because like when you look at, especially like as it gets dark, like the I don't know what they call it because I don't do sports, but I'm just kidding. I do sports, but I don't do fighting sports. The edge of the ring.
Right, it's a ring.
Yeah, they do a ring. They do it in like glow LEDs. So you look down, and after it gets dark, so you see the edge of the fight, and then you just see like the glowing lightsabers.
Yeah, we always try to
It's
schedule
so
it towards the end of the
cool
day,
looking.
because
Well,
it just looks far more
it looks
spectacular.
so
They
cool.
do demo stuff during the day, so
Yeah.
they can kind of show you, because they'll let you try stuff out and show you some of the techniques. But the actual fighting, it's out at night. It looks awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not only that,
It
but
looks
it's
so neat.
they have announcers that basically provide insight into it as you go. So it's interesting to listen to and watch, and you get a little bit of an idea of what the martial arts are like, because it's basically their members commenting on what other members are doing. So yeah, that's a really fun little event, something that you wouldn't expect to see at a gaming convention, but something that we brought in because it's sort of like it's nerdy and it's fun.
Because
and,
you know what? Why not?
Yeah, exactly.
We do it how we feel like.
Yeah, we do what we
And
want.
so if you have cool stuff like that, or just an idea for anything, let us know.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Because we, as a general rule, we don't really say no. I mean,
Yeah.
we had,
Good
there's
to
a
know.
guy. The guy actually ended up canceling events.
Test that.
From,
Test that theory.
Bring it on. I had a guy this con who his concept for a game, and I awarded him prize money to give out, was board game debate. So literally, you pick the board game you like, and you go up there and it's a debate style tournament, and debate why your game is better.
Forensically debate why your game is better.
Yeah.
So I mean, he pulled out from lack of interest, but that's at least a creative idea.
Oh, yeah.
I would kind of like to see what that looked like. To be perfectly honest with you, that was total like, what is that?
We had a guy that wants to do competitive tournament fiasco.
That would be awesome.
Oh
and
my
he wants
God.
to, and he wants to do it, and the thing is he wants to do it on stage. He wants to get
God.
people to actually sort
Now-
of do it for other people to
So,
spectate.
so the winner is the group that is most fucked up by the end of the game.
We would win that. I want that to happen.
well, one of the things that we were discussing is
Having
having
some kind of a
will win.
handicap.
Is
You
actually-
just can't start halfway there.
is actually having you guys participate in it. Yeah. When I was
man.
talking to this guy, I said, "You know what? I think this is something that the Happy Jacks guys might be interested in doing," because he said, "Wouldn't it be neat if we could actually film it as an actual play? Would it be fun?" And I'm like, "Well, I think that regular attendees might have an issue with just being filmed and
Yeah.
put on something, but people that do this on a semi-professional basis might enjoy it."
Oh, sure.
so nice.
So
Absolutely.
Semi-professional.
Well, it is a garage.
Well, no, I'm glad we have the word professional in there at all. Like,
It's a very nice garage.
yeah,
though.
no,
Yes.
that's super big compliments. Fucking professional. Are you kidding
holy
me?
fuck, man! I'm being nice to everybody except for Caddy. Matt, I'm sorry. You're great. I'm
loves
spreading
you.
the
He's
love to
okay.
everybody and
Yeah.
picking on him.
If you come to con, Jim will give you a handy.
He switched to all caps a while ago.
Yeah, he's very involved. All right, so I have a question though. Okay, if you could, like, not a LARP that already exists, but if you could run a LARP, what would be your like LARP idea? You don't
That
have to
doesn't
start.
already exist?
I mean, it could already exist, but like playing something that already exists isn't as fun. I mean, it might already exist,
You
but
mean,
like, what would
you
be
mean
your
as
ideal?
a LARP or just a concept?
Like a concept.
Oh, I have no idea. Let me think about it.
Okay.
Go with
I would
someone
do a
else.
Dresden LARP
Renaissance
and a drop of that.
Oh, fuck yeah.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to say Shadowrun.
Shadowrun is
Oh,
fun too.
that's a good one
But
too.
a Dresden LARP, just in the scene where he fucks up the Red Court, that burns down the building.
The costume party.
Costume party.
Yeah.
Just
Where
do a
he-
LARP
where he
based
takes
around that
Michael with
story.
him, yeah.
Yeah. Just and have like the GMs actually be the named characters, just sort of moving the plot along, and everybody else.
Grave Peril.
Grave Peril.
Grave Peril, yeah.
I think that would be a great
reading
LARP.
them all right now.
I think that'd be a great LARP.
That'd be super
That's
fun.
what I run at drop of a hat. That's,
Yeah, I
that's
like
the
that.
LARP I would consider running.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the cool thing about these games is you could do anything.
Anything. Yeah.
Right. I have no idea.
No, you don't.
I don't know.
No.
I really just, I'm fixated on an L5R LARP.
Yeah.
Because that would be a lot of fun. Like a court game. It'd be
Yeah,
a
you do
blast.
winter court.
You know, there was one time, I don't know, it was years ago, long time ago. This guy it wasn't necessarily a LARP per se, but it was more like it was kind of like a tactical LARP. I mean, it was all court, but everybody in there was like the ruler of a kingdom somewhere, kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. Or like I had a kingdom. One of the other players was basically my main advisor, and there was another player who was in charge of one of my client states, and everybody had their own goals, things they're trying to do. And
Sounds a lot like Birthright.
It was very similar, but it was very streamlined. It wasn't quite as, I guess, dense as Birthright was. It had the same kind of feel.
Interesting.
Taffy, when you were talking about the costume party in Grave Peril, Taffy's like, isn't that like doing a LARP of the Red Wedding?
Yeah, kind of. And wouldn't that be fun too?
It's a lot of blood.
It is.
All
All
right.
right, so that one will be outside on one of our patios. We can hose off when we're done.
Right.
They have floor drains. It's nice
With the
though.
little squibs with the blood
Yeah.
packets.
That'd be awesome.
Make it happen. Look,
Make a fake dog head.
put my money where my mouth is. I'll say yes to it.
Well, the other LARP that I thought would be absolutely fantastic to do is the Champions LARP.
That'd be awesome.
Superheroes.
Yeah.
Superhero LARP. But do it like Mystery Men.
That'd be so much
And
fun.
then
Yeah.
just you can sign up for it. Come up with your. I want to join your super group. I'm Waffle Man. Those guys.
I'm the Waffler.
That'd be
Waffler.
so much fun.
Right?
I'm the PMS Avenger.
Yes.
You got a problem with that?
Oh, no.
My
Whatever.
my online handle comes from that movie. Actually.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
What's your online handle?
Herkimer.
Nice.
And that started.
Herkimer Battle Jitney.
Yeah.
That started with City of Heroes. My friend got me playing the MMORPG City of Heroes.
Uh-huh.
And I made Herkimer because I could make a tank-looking dude who was essentially the tank in the game who didn't do a lot. And that's what I did. And that became all of my online handles is Herkimer in most things. If I can get it.
The Herkimer Battle Jitney.
In the new BattleTech game, my character's name is Herkimer B. Jitney.
Oh, man.
All right.
It's amazing. Wait, I didn't get to see mine.
Oh, go ahead.
I think I would want to do, because I'm obsessed with it right now, like an, what is it, Iron Edda game? The
the Norse one?
yeah, I want to do an all Valkyrie game,
Ooh, that'd be nice.
like an all Valkyrie LARP.
that
And
sounds
really,
awesome.
I just want me and Samantha and Abria to like have like the most fucking, and Gina, like all of us have like fucking badass Valkyrie gear.
Right.
I have to admit that like most of my interest in LARPing is costumes, like, which I think is a legitimate okay.
Totally, it's part of the hobby.
It's at least half.
It's
Yeah.
at least
Well, I
half.
got to tell you, when I went to Gen Con, there was a huge L5R LARP there. There was probably 50 or 60 people there.
Yeah.
And you just see this sea. It's like all of the blue crane people are over here, and there's crab are here, and then I mean, they didn't. Not all the clans were represented. There was like, I saw red, so there were scorpion.
Well, maybe Phoenix.
Oh yeah, maybe
could it-
Phoenix.
Because honestly, if you
They're red and gold.
If they were
if you
wearing
can pick the
masks.
scorpion out of the crowd, that's a shitty scorpion.
Well, mask.
Mask.
Did you see a mask, or did you
I'm
see
trying
red?
to remember if I saw
See?
masks.
There we go.
I don't remember. I don't
See,
remember.
between Samantha and Adam and I, like we've got enough costumers, we could make like a badass L5R LARP.
Actually,
Such
you know what?
fucking
A
amazing
rogue
costumes.
trader 40K LARP would be fun.
Oh yeah.
with boots.
Yeah.
When you're talking costuming, the boots are very important.
So female-friendly Snake Plissken boots. That's what we're talking about.
100%.
That is the top of the mountain for you, is it?
That is everything.
All right. You know
Like,
what? You hear it here first. People make it happen.
Yeah.
Make it happen.
Amazon.com.
Yes.
Right.
What size are you?
All right. D&D Dogma from Steffi in Scotland.
All right.
All right.
My lovely drunk darlings,
Oh.
drink every time you hear umbrage.
Oh dear.
Okay, I'm done doing my Scottish accent.
Yeah, please.
You know,
I mean, great.
Very similar to my Australian accent, where I basically just yell,
Yeah.
but I trill my R's.
You do. It's kind of, it works though.
And it sounds like every Scot and Aussie I know. They just yell.
You recently had a letter. No, I must take umbrage over. Umbrage, I say, without googling the word to check. It means what I think it
umbrage, sorry.
means.
I
So
actually
you know
used the
I'm
word
serious.
umbrage yesterday.
Did you,
I did, legitimately.
Dolores?
No.
no.
No, in its proper context. It wants to show off.
Yeah.
English is my second language, so I know a lot of words.
The letter discussed mixing up D&D gods, creating conflict between the followers / religious organizations, and some uncertainty over whether the gods exist and what they actually want. All that is fine. Where I take umbrage is that a god.
You're
We're
not
supposed to
following
do-
the directions.
Oh, I'm sorry.
One of us is keeping it in spirit.
I can do the things. All right.
Don't
Don't
foam
spill.
out.
Okay.
Where I take umbrage is that a god may be a demon, fae, etc., and the clerics find out in play. You see, a cleric, quote unquote, of a demon or fae is called a warlock. They are a different class that is all about the toxic relationship with a more powerful being. You can play a warlock who thinks he's a cleric. I've played one who thought she was a bard and honestly believed the pact she made was becoming engaged with bro Seder.
He lifts, man. But he's the asshole who does curls in the squat rack. He's an asshole.
Did put his weights back.
He's a yeah, absolutely.
Doesn't wipe anything
Doesn't
down.
want
Fuck
to
that
down.
guy. Fuck that guy.
Sweats like a pissed-on spudge.
Yeah, and then doesn't put the 45s away. Hate those people. Sorry, never mind. It's
You
fine.
have 45s?
Yeah.
Dude, look at the guns, man.
How else am I going to deadlift 320 pounds? No, 45-pound plates, like 45.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, that's not the gym. No, you're so
I
cute.
think like a John Woo exercise or something.
Probably at some gym somewhere.
Right.
Well, 45s are heavy.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, clerics can have a toxic relationship with their gods too,
Yes.
or not. But interaction with their gods can be vague and mysterious, or what they meet every Tuesday for book club. But the player decided their class for a reason. It's not going to go over well if you tell the rogue that she is really a barbarian. Some rogues are barbarians.
They are.
Most, because they take other people's things.
Like
and
what?
barbarians do that as well. Player choice
Conan.
matters, and class is kind of a big one. That ends my rant of umbrage. Steffi from Scotland, Bumbletrue on Twitter, PS Drink.
Woohoo.
I have to drive very far after this, so I have
That's fine. PPS, we have Zima. Tappy brought it.
We have
What?
The refrigerator is
So
a third full of Zima.
much-
Is this
Zima.
some kind of a sick joke, Matt? I don't understand.
No.
I love you, man.
He had to drive a ways to find it.
That's awesome.
If you have
I
it,
didn't know
I'll
they
crack
still
a
made
bottle
that.
open. You guys can take a sip.
Yeah,
Thing that
it's
hasn't
cool.
happened.
I'll drink it. I
Because
don't care.
it's
I've had it
terrible.
before.
It's vile.
I know. I've had it before.
It's probably been a very long time. Did you break one?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm heartbroken.
My gift from me to
Right?
you. To make room in the fridge.
Oh, they twist off.
Of course they do. It's Zima.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not used to beer that twists off.
I'm surprised it's just not foil you poke your finger through.
Does anybody else remember Bartles and James?
Of course. I used to
Okay.
love Bartles and James. And remember California Cooler?
Yes, I
Oh,
do.
yeah, I do.
That's what you get you drink in high school.
That's
That's how you get chicks drunk in high school, yeah.
That and Strawberry Hill.
that's how I got drunk in high school. The first time I had an underage drink was a California Cooler.
You're a dick, Matt, just for the record.
It's terrible, isn't it? It's not even like I'll here.
No. This reminds me of a story. We're at the King's Head Pub for my 25th birthday, I think it was.
Whatever.
I believe that's when Matt got the ginger beer.
Oh, no, that was Keith. that
Was it
got the
Keith?
ginger.
Oh, okay.
But he passed this ginger beer, and it's legitimate ginger beer. And if you've ever had, like, actual, true, legitimate ginger beer, that stuff is caustic.
Yeah, powerful, yeah. You can clean engines with it.
Yeah, and so he kept, it was one of those, oh my God, here, try this.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. This is terrible. You need to have some too.
Some people smart enough say no.
Yeah.
I hope he didn't pay much for it.
Probably did, actually. We were at a bar selling ginger beer.
No, I'm talking about.
Oh, the Zima?
This crap.
I don't even know how they still make this stuff.
Dude, nostalgia will sell anything.
That's
Yeah,
true.
I wish there was a bottling date on here because this thing
This
may
is
actually
probably
be from the
be
80s.
from-
Yeah, it's like I
Yeah.
feel like I'm drinking a Pepsi Clear.
That would explain the taste.
Oh my!
Well, here you go. Questions, call 1-800-842. You can probably ask them. There's probably a number on here that tells you
It
something.
looks like there's a date on the other side of it. Is that stamped on in the back? It's like printed.
This one right here?
Yeah.
Oh, right there.
No.
No, it's a lot number, but they can probably trace it based off
That's
that.
true.
Assuming the A number is still connected.
Oh yeah.
So we probably should talk about the email.
Okay.
Yeah, just
yes.
definitely instead of the
No,
Zima.
we can make this into a word.
So is that now? Here, my question with the taking of the umbrage on this.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not affecting the character's powers, does it matter?
I don't know. Is that their point though? That it would affect their powers? That like, I don't know. I guess that's. I don't know if I agree with that because if a demon wanted you to think you were a cleric, would they only give you the powers that a warlock has? It seems like if they're bestowing powers on you, and I get that sort of fuddling with like the D&D kind of rules.
Right.
So I don't know the best way to
I think
kind
the
of
difference
play
is
that.
semantic, because really it's just basis of the type of contract that you have with whatever greater power you're drawing power from.
Right.
So I think that it's very that the line would be very blurred between a warlock and a cleric that follows the same dark deity or demon, what have you. It's just that they would be granted a different set of powers depending on what type of organization.
Yeah, well, because the email
Or actual contract he has with the.
Yeah, because the email states that a demon would have a toxic. You would have a toxic relationship with a demon. Not necessarily if you're both jerks to everybody else, but not each other. You'd probably be all right.
Sure. Right.
So I think that kind of matters. You can go one way or the other with it. I think the point is when you learn your God's not what you think it is, and it pulls the rug out from under your character. That's kind of a dick move. I think is what the anger comes from. Maybe.
Well, if you look at what the foundation for a cleric's power is faith, correct? So if you create a situation where there is a crisis of faith, thus the identity of their God being different than what they thought, that faith would be shaken, and therefore they would have difficulty
Maybe.
accessing
I
those
mean,
powers.
but
That's just the way that I would
think-
interpret it as a
I
GM.
think it's okay to play with that, with the answer to the question on where their powers come from. Maybe they're just a different kind of mage that's doing a kind of magic.
Oh, yeah, you're going into the metaphysics of it.
Exactly, and I mean most
but that could be an arc all in of itself too.
absolutely.
Make a game out of that.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with, as long as you're not pulling the mechanical rug out from underneath the player, saying, "Oh, you can't be this kind of character anymore because this was revealed to you, or you no longer have your powers because your faith is shaken." That I think that gets into that thing where the players make choices for the game under certain assumptions. And
Well,
that I agree with.
That's
But-
what we're talking about, whether the GM can, as part of the plot, sort of negate part of the player's agency in the fact that they've created an identity for themselves.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think.
But do they does that give them purview over the identity of the deity?
Well, when you're, I think it all depends on the setting and the way you want to do it. Because I think what the real point here is if you're going to do something like this in your plot, you have to make sure that you discuss it with the player. I think that one of those things where you just sort of like make that choice arbitrarily on your own, and then just expose the player character to it, you're probably going to end up with either the player's super cool and just rolls with it, which is probably what I do, or they're going to get kind of upset because they've crafted this thing. You know, you're sort of negating their creation, and the only real act of creativity that you have in a game like D&D and a lot of these role-playing games is the actual setup of your character's backstory, and who and what the character is.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you when as a GM, when you start mucking about with the only real agency you have in the game, then that sort of really would take the wind out of a lot of player sails.
Wouldn't it be fun to play a paladin who is having a crisis with faith?
I've done it actually.
Yeah, it's super fun.
It is super fun.
I think you could do it in a way that wasn't necessarily pulling the rug out from under them. Like, they could start out as like a real, cleric of Bahamut or whoever. But like maybe at one point they start hearing a voice, and they, okay, roll. Do you know who that is? Maybe they don't. And slowly, and then they get to make that player choice. Are they going to listen to this voice who claims to be from their deity? Oh, they get an extra power if they do. Maybe that solidifies their faith that maybe this is. And then I think you can introduce it in a way like that, where suddenly they find out, however long later, that these extra powers and stuff are not coming from the god. things like that. I think it's a way you can do that and not take away player agency.
Exactly. And you just sort of micro-introduce it, and like little layers, and players start accepting it, and then they just formulate it into their own character, and then once it's already part of their character and then it's revealed, you're like going, oh my, but I still got all this stuff, so it's okay.
Well, yeah, and you made that choice.
And you made that choice.
Yeah, it was like you could have been like, oh no, I'm going to a temple to make sure, but no, you didn't,
also,
or whatever.
There are fantasy settings where the gods are the gods and they respond with magical powers but never really speak to anybody.
Right.
There are ones where the gods actually are very active in the way that in the day-to-day life of the people in the world. There's a lot of different levels of investment that you have in the god as a character within your setting. So, if you're dealing with one of those situations where the gods are kind of aloof, I find it would probably be a lot easier to pull something like that off.
Yeah.
Because the gods and the gods and the sources of their power are basically a mystery to begin with.
Right.
And actually discovering what the truth is behind that mystery, or pulling the curtain to find the wizard is nothing but an old man talking into a microphone.
Exactly.
That's also kind of fun too, you know.
Or maybe even still that all of your holy powers aren't actually derived from anybody else. It is just a different expression of the manipulation of magic around you.
Right.
And also, that it's basically just faith is just the focus of will, and will is the actual force that powers the magic.
Yeah.
But I'd love to actually play in a story arc where you actually discover what the source of clerical magic is in some way, shape, or form, and you have to decide whether you're going to tell everybody about it and make them lose their faith in this fundamental social mooring that keeps everybody going.
Oh, sure.
Or do you just keep it to yourself and go, things are working fine, I'm just going to let this one slide.
Yeah. Well, and this discussion is kind of a spiral off of like a discussion we've had for a couple podcasts in a row now about, can atheists exist in this society? How can you make that work? How do different levels of faith work? Because a lot of times in D&D, the gods are just given as a granted. Like everybody believes in them because there's magic.
Right.
But there are lots of ways you can do it, like what you just said, where you might believe it's a magic from a god. Maybe you think it's just your innate and arcane power. Maybe, lots of people can have different takes on that.
Right.
And it adds nuance, and I think it makes games much more interesting.
I mean, if we are sitting here having horrible debates about whether it's Laurel or Yanni,
Right?
then you can have all kinds of
Blue dress or white dress?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, no, yeah, I know what you're talking
Totally
about.
Yanni.
Yeah.
Come on.
Except it was on dictionary.com for the word Laurel. So even if you're hearing Yanni, it's Laurel.
Yeah.
It's like that
You have to look
dress.
at the intent of the person who's saying the word. It's just terrible recording.
Yeah, no, that's what it is. And people are saying it's like depends on what speaker you're hearing it from. Lots of people are like on their better speakers are hearing Laurel.
I've tried it on 3. I hear Laurel every time.
Oh, yeah. No, I've heard Yanni on everyone because I've looked.
But back on the point,
Sorry.
I think that if you have a universal mechanic for some type of ability that's granted by a higher power, the mechanic itself could just be universal, and the actual narrative idea of where the actual source of that power is fluid, and you can play with that.
Sure.
But when you have things where things are very definitely bard spells, very definitely wizard spells, very definitely cleric spells, it becomes different unless it's like a domain power or something like that for you to be able to go, well, you can cast these wizard spells too. And, people automatically think that there's something fishy, and then you're actually fiddling with the fundamental nature of the balance of the game.
Oh, sure.
If you're giving clerics wizard abilities and vice versa.
Or making bards useful? Weird.
Or bards are useful. Shut up. Go on a road trip and don't listen to any music, asshole. See what you like.
Yeah, if there's a stack of them, a stack of dead bards, they make great cover.
Yes.
The guy just kept making bards until they all died.
No. He made his employees
Make bard characters.
Oh, man.
Better. And for the record, if I can replace your character with a CD, your character blows.
CDs don't exist yet, and you're on a wagon.
Whatever. You can have magic. I can have an iPod.
Oh.
Magic iPod.
I'm
Now,
sure they
does that come from a divine grace, or is it actually a manifestation of your own will?
Well,
Depends on whether
Steve Jobs thought he was God.
Probably.
Probably is right now. Sorry, Steve. Don't hurt me. But your company sucks now.
Oh, man. I need to add him into demigods. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Put them in deities and demigods.
Yes.
I should just do a write-up and put it on the website.
Yes,
That'd be
you
awesome.
should. That'd be amazing. All right, language and games.
A language again. Thank you, Steffi, for the email.
You're awesome.
Thank you.
And thank you for sending us a drinking game. We always appreciate those.
You know what? I expect an email where we missed whatever point she was trying to make. Horribly. I bet that happens.
No, I mean, I think she made great points, or they made great points, and
But
I
they are
don't
good
necessarily
points.
agree.
But all these things are debatable, and it all depends on the point of view that you're looking at them and what your end goal is in your story.
Yeah.
If you have a grand idea of building a story around uncovering the true power of faith, or awakening dead gods, or just putting them to sleep by saying you don't really exist, if that's your point? Go for it, man, and you can manipulate these things to make that happen. But if you're just trying to mess with somebody's character because you don't like it, that turns into a problem.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Find a new GM.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and we found out that the Zima was made this year.
Yes, it's clearly in front of
It
us.
expires September 24th of 18.
Oh. Well, that's
That's
the
true.
expiration date?
Zima could be the Twinkie of booze.
Maybe it's from the 80s. Who knows? Nice.
So I think about so Matt, you're at least nice enough to give us stuff that's not going to kill us yet. It's just
Yet.
terrible.
Yet.
Very clear diabetic piss is basically what happens.
These bottles could be 30 years old.
Yeah.
Indeed.
That's a valid
It
point.
just means that we have to drink them all in the next few months.
We do, huh?
We? Who's this we?
Hey, you guys said you wanted to come back, so now it's a thing.
Oh, now it's a thing.
We'll save some bottles.
You know what?
Yeah.
To be fair, if I came back more often, I would drink Zima. I would like to be part of this. I can't tell you how often I've listened to your podcast and go, God, I'd love to be in the middle of that conversation.
Yeah.
I have something to add.
Yes.
Well, beyond that.
Zima is the price.
Zima's the price.
I'll send you.
You know what? Then every time I come on, I'll have 2, right?
Okay.
Two. Okay. All right.
Zimas.
All right.
Excellent.
All right. Language in games. Dear jovial jackholes, on the subject of language in games, I'll share with you my story from my Traveler campaign.
New Traveler.
It may be a bit long, but 90% of your show is emails, and the other 10% is complaints about the length of emails. So either way, you're welcome. Thank
I
you.
like this guy.
Yeah, me too. This is my favorite person. In session 1, I know the crew is going to need to purchase a starship, so I prepped a few used ones for them to choose from by rolling in the Mongoose tables covering age versus flaws and quirks. One of the 3 floating in the shipyard they chose, of the 3 floating in the shipyard, they chose a 100-year-old free trader with flawed sensors. Between sessions, I wrote a backstory for the ship they chose, detailing its use as a colony jumpstart ship by supplying otherwise illegal anagasic. Thank you, that's a good word. Anti-aging drugs. The Imperium had given the crew of old folks an extra 30 years of life on a remote planet in exchange for their service in building the infrastructure for a later and much larger. Oh my God, this is a long email.
Dang.
Colony ship. This is why you should always turn the page and check before you pick that one.
Do you want to do it in shifts?
We have to do it in
Oh my God,
shifts.
yeah, it's the only one. So I'll finish this and then I'll pass it off. When I hit you, start reading, Jim.
All right.
All right. Larger colony ship. After the ship was mothballed, it was purchased by the Aslan, a race of cat people, and used for unknown purposes, before being sold off to the shipyard where the players found it for sale. In truth, I picked Aslan. Am I saying that right? Aslan?
Aslan.
Yeah. Slowly for
That's
the
lion
cat people. Yeah.
From Traveler.
For the amusement of having a ship whose cleaning robots had failed due to excessive ingestion of cat fur.
Well, I imagine that every corner there's a scratch post.
Yeah.
Amazing.
The HMS litter box.
Oh my God. Yes. During character generation, I had house ruled having the players pick a minor advantage and disadvantage from the GURPS rules. So when one player picked allergy, the die was cast.
See, that's a bigger dick move than the religion thing about just pulling right on your character.
Amazing. Oh my God.
But funny.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Oh fuck. As someone who lives with terrible allergies, especially to cats, this is amazing. You take allergies, you get cat fur. That's basically my duty as the GM.
Of course.
Yeah.
I don't have my mic on.
No. Yeah. I mean,
A
Claire
disadvantage that is not a disadvantage is not a disadvantage.
Indeed.
We need shirts that say that.
Yeah. And just my friend Mitch, never take Dark Secret when he's running a game. It's a bad idea.
Bullshit. Take Dark Secret because it makes for killer sessions, just not for you.
Yeah.
It really, that's a heavy thing to take, man.
You're at the bottom of the stack at that origin. Man. Yeah.
Take the bullets. Everybody has a good game. Just suck it up.
Do it.
Yes. Several sessions later, the engineer decides to try and fix the flawed sensors, but rolled snake eyes. So, with the ship's backstory in mind, this failure causes the sensors to suddenly switch to Aslan and look completely different. There was clearly more detail visible, but no one on board could understand it. They then figured out how to switch the language back and forth, but were otherwise stumped. Go.
Another few sessions went by, and a friend of mine asked to join the game. I offered as an option an NPC who had just joined the ship, or he could generate a completely new character, and we would figure out where he could join the crew. The player decided that the NPC sounded interesting, so we did random character generation with the NPC in mind as an objective. At this point, all I knew about the NPC was that he was an expert in ancient languages, and his university sent him to investigate the writing on an artifact the crew had found. Of course, the artifact had since been stolen, but the crew assured the professor that they could track it down again for a fee. So the linguist boarded as the NPC passenger, but would become a PC 2 sessions later. My friend went through random character generation and came up with a character he thought would work. I agreed that and was secretly amused that the language he had chosen for his area of study was Aslan.
Nice.
Since the player had no knowledge of the ship's history.
Perfect.
That's awesome.
The player joined the game, and the professor offered to help with the sensors. Unfortunately for them, he didn't have the sensors skill, but the engineer welded together a double chair so he and the professor could cooperate. Yes. Together, they slowly discovered that the sensors weren't flawed. It was just that they had been replaced by the Aslan with military-grade sensors, which didn't work well with the default civilian software.
Okay.
Meanwhile, in real life, I am friends with an actual scholar of ancient languages, so I asked him to help me understand how languages vary and how we could build an interesting story around it.
Holy
nice.
shit.
That's amazing.
That
That
is
is
amazing.
great. He explained to me that translations are not one-to-one. A word may work in 80% of cases, but you can't rely on word-for-word translations in every case. Think about the word green and how it translates to a matching color in any dual language dictionary. But how would that fail when your spies report the enemy discussing green troops? Even among humans, language affects the way we see and process color. The Himba tribe of Nambia has only 5 words for colors, and they have trouble distinguishing between blue and green, but they can easily distinguish between subtle shades of green, which most of us cannot. I encourage you to watch the fascinating BBC documentary called Do You See What I See for more detail. Imagine how much more variable words could be in the mind of an alien or an orc.
Oh, holy shit. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Specifically, the most variable words, at least among earthly languages, are prepositions. My expert friend explained that in Hebrew he could say that the chair is from my back, and to Germans the clouds are on the sky. These are subtle differences that can lead to major misunderstandings. Also, context is very important, and it is not always clear that a subtext even exists without being a native speaker. Knowing every word in a passage is not sufficient, particularly when the speaker is being coy or subtle. What's meant as a joke or a play on words could have deadly consequences if interpreted literally.
I had a student ask me a question the other day because I'm a teacher, and he's just learning English. It's his first year in the country, and he asked me, he's like, "Why do you get on the bus and in a car?" And I was like, "That's a brilliant question. I have no idea."
Oh yeah,
Because you stand up on a bus.
Is
you
that
stand
why?
up. You stand on things.
So
You
that's
sit
why
in
you're
things. Oh, except chairs. You sit on
right,
things.
right.
What bus have you been on doesn't have a chair? I mean, you can stand on the bus, but you can also sit in the bus.
Yeah. You can get in the bus, or you can get on the bus. But it's
And you can get on the car, but you go flying off because physics wins.
and you get on the plane.
I think the assumption is that when you get onto a vehicle that's being otherwise piloted by somebody else, you board or get
You get on
it.
an airplane.
But when you get into a vehicle that you plan or are capable of piloting yourself, you get in.
But you get on a motorcycle. Yeah, that's okay. That
But
would
you
work.
ride on a motorcycle.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, but you don't
top
get in a motorcycle.
Yeah, you
But you're
can't,
not
though.
in
You
the
can't
motorcycle.
That's true.
No.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but you're not in house, so
No.
you're
Yeah.
in a motorcycle.
I don't know about helicopter. What do you do for
You get in
in a helicopter? Okay.
In a helicopter, yeah.
I don't know. That's kind of fascinating, but this is a really interesting discussion.
I had not thought about the preposition thing. That is fascinating.
All right.
Actually,
So what does this mean for our start? We'll get back to that in a minute.
But getting on top of a bus then, like, if
you're
you're
from
saying,
India?
I'm going to get on the bus,
Yeah.
meaning you're going to stand on top of it, you'd have to be more specific because you say, I'm going to get on the bus.
Yeah.
That means inside,
Yeah.
right?
Well, that also goes back to the online inline thing.
Right.
That's a whole other thing.
That's regional though.
It is. Well, yeah, because
but that's the whole thing about language, though.
Right.
Because contextually, it's very different. I can tell you straight up from knowing Castellano, Spanish from Chile, the context cues versus, let's say, somebody from Colombia or Mexico are radically different. And the slang is a little different. But when you're trying to allude to cultural touchstones, it becomes very difficult. And language does that far more than people really realize.
Right.
yeah, it's imperceptible at that point. So what does this mean for our Starship crew? Literally years of enjoyment as I fed them extremely detailed sensor data through the cultural and linguistic filter of a race of cat people. Through this filter, we got to explore how the Aslan see the universe. For example...
Oh my god, this is awesome!
Yeah, this is amazing.
Since they are predators, their sensors show everything as either prey or larger predators. Brilliant, sir, brilliant. I play all my games online, so I fed information to the players such as, there is a huge dog in orbit, but it seems to be limping and has a missing tooth. And the ship leaving dock looks like a delicious morsel. And the player interprets that and passes along to the crew in character. Anytime I wanted to make things difficult, I could misapply a preposition describing something as through rather than behind or with instead of near. But overall, they got a wealth of information from software that had no other human civilization would ever see. Civilian would ever see. Still, they still haven't figured out that this software is worth more to the Imperium than their entire ship.
Right.
Oh my god, it's just like Cowboy Bebop.
Oh yeah, the dog.
The dog. This highlights one feature of Traveler among game systems, which is near complete lack of D&D style character advancement. There is no leveling up, and skill points are added extremely slowly, if at all, depending on version. But that doesn't make for a boring or static story. The characters still increase their power and ability to influence more significant aspects of the world, but they do it through gained knowledge. The development of influential contacts and upgrades to their equipment and to their ship.
Yeah, I was going to say, and better guns.
Yeah.
Well,
Because that's character advancement in Traveler.
and sometimes by hiring a linguist to interpret the dander-covered, flawed sensor display on their discount starship.
Extra!
Keep up the good work. Hoyle, Jaden on the forums, PS, and beer, PPS, dick joke.
All right, I really like this guy.
Yeah.
Before I
was
forget,
fantastic.
I have one funny Traveler thing. Who here watches The Magicians on Sci-Fi?
I haven't.
Okay.
I did for a while.
Okay, did you catch in season 1 the Traveler joke, the blatant Traveler joke, if you know the game at all?
I didn't see it.
At one point in time, there's the non-magic people who are still magics outside of the school, and they're getting together, and they have a board where they discuss this stuff, and their board is called Free Trader. And the main character in the scene, his name is Beowulf.
Oh, yeah.
And so my wife is watching this. I'm not paying attention because I'm not into the show. It's not my thing. And I'm typing away on my laptop doing some work, and I hear Free Trader Beowulf fall off the couch laughing. I go, most people aren't going to get that.
No.
Wow.
That's
Makes me
awesome.
happy that I
That's
did.
a deep cut, man.
You gotta you gotta get the boxed edition and read the
Yes.
little blurb on
Yeah.
on the
That's
cover.
deep but hilarious, and that's a great. I work for a company that is a Japanese company, so we get horribly translated tech stuff. It's a tech company, we work on machinery and stuff, and so I understand the prepositions, sentence structure. One of the jokes is if you read a sentence translated from Japanese, it makes no sense. Read it backwards, and boom, you've got it. And that's a fantastic way to, just address that.
We used to have a Boggart's Wives, Poxy Boggart's Merry Wives forum, and Tappy and I both made character or sock puppets, and we would write out whatever we were going to say, put it into Google Translate it into another language, and then translate it back to English, and then post that as our posts.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
We were thinking
I've
for a
done-
while at the convention to do Q&A videos as sock puppets.
Even funnier, I've done machine repair that same way in foreign countries, where I've been standing there with the guy who doesn't speak my language, and we've been communicating exclusively about technical stuff over Google Translate.
Right.
Yeah. I have students I've done that with, and
Oh,
parents.
That's hilarious. That's like telling a Vietnamese guy that, contact the supplier for a warranty. Mm-hmm. And he just looks at you weird. I go, I don't know.
What's a warranty? All right.
Awesome.
Thank you for the email. That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's a great email.
It really, and it brings up. We were a lot of people were kind of poo-pooing the whole thing about having all this language stuff is going to get boring and it's going to be frustrating.
Yeah.
And what a brilliant thing to do.
Exactly,
with it.
and that's actually a common thing in sci-fi is that they find some kind of MacGuffin or way for people to just simply communicate, a universal translator.
I've always hated that.
And
Always hated that.
I find that the more interesting science fiction settings, and one of the primary reasons why I didn't like Jar Jar Binks is like, why didn't the Gungans have their own language? Everybody else has their own language.
Yeah.
Right.
Why do they just speak English with an accent? Same as the
Right.
Nemodians.
Yeah.
It seemed kind of racist to me all the way around anyway.
sure.
Well, yeah.
But
that's a
I
whole
think that I
other
would have
thing.
accepted those characters a lot more and fallen into more of a suspension of disbelief as they actually bothered to give them their own language like they gave everybody else in the original
Yeah.
trilogy.
Or even just the parts where they were down in the Gungan city, if they had their own language.
Exactly.
Jar Jar was an outcast. Him knowing shitty English, admittedly, made sense. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. That'd be kind of a cool idea.
But you could a lot of things that you would think would be bars to telling a story could easily be manipulated into being something that actually just makes the story even better. Presenting your characters with new and unique challenges that aren't necessarily combat challenges or political challenges or something like that, but just straight up, how the hell do we use our equipment that we can't understand and trying to find a solution, and then making it interesting when they do. Wow, man, just reading that made me happy.
Oh, yeah.
It was just fun. It was a great idea, and the fact
Well-
that you had easy access to a linguist was helpful too.
Well, that helps a lot, too. So everybody out there, make your MacGuffin in a foreign language and give them crappy translations of it.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
much fun.
You cannot roll your way out of this. Think as a group.
think as
Yeah.
a
Right.
figure out, find
Make it
the
a
puzzle.
homework assignment.
up with
If your RPG isn't a homework assignment, you're not doing it right.
Yeah. If I can teach kids math when they don't speak English, you can get through it in a game, I promise. It'll be fine.
Well, a test of a good session is the same as a test of a good movie. How long do you think about it after you're done?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, the way that I measure how much I liked a movie is like how much of my processing time after I watched do I actually still. If I'm thinking about something else 5 minutes after walking out of the theater, that movie was forgettable.
Yeah.
But if I'm still thinking about elements of that movie like a week later, I go, wow, that was a really good movie. I really
Totally.
liked it.
Yeah.
So, and same thing with a role playing game. If you're so engaged that you're constantly, or you're retelling the story, you're constantly thinking about what you could have done different, then yeah, man, that's an experience that's going to last with you, and you've built something that actually has some depth.
Yeah. Awesome.
Excellent.
Cool.
Well, that's it.
All right. I
Yeah.
think we're
I
done.
think we're done.
Awesome.
Thank you guys for coming out again.
Thanks for
Yeah.
having us.
And people go to strategicon.net if they want information about the con.
Absolutely.
LAX Hilton Hotel starts Friday at noon. Is that right?
Yep.
Yep.
Friday at
And
noon.
we're on Twitter and Facebook
And Instagram.
and Instagram.
Yeah.
At Strategicon.
And you have a new webpage. I see.
The new webpage is
It's
fantastic. Now that
Lovely.
we no longer look like a 90s style webpage.
Web 1.0, baby.
Yeah. So it's new, it's flashy, it's very functional, and gives you a whole bunch of neat information about some fun games you can play here in Southern California.
And not flashy as in it's using the flash tag, HTML tag.
No.
No, it doesn't use Flash. Flash
That's
is dead.
deprecated,
Yeah,
yeah.
the God Jobs killed Flash.
No, I'm talking about I'm talking about the flash tag.
Oh
Remember
no,
when you could make your text flash on and off,
I remember when you just put flames on everything.
or the mailbox for the email thing, or
Yeah.
the little guy with the pick for under construction.
Under construction, yeah.
Construction.
Oh,
Or that
man.
stupid fucking paperclip.
Oh, come on now,
yeah.
Clippy's awesome. Clippy's the shit. Just take a whiff.
I see Clippy and Skid Row with like a bottle of Thunderbird going, what happened? Where did it all go?
It's all rusty. Right on the
Sugary
mouth.
screw top wine, baby. All right.
Enzima.
Enzima.
I would rather have sugary screw top
Yeah, I know,
wine.
me too.
Indeed. I'd rather have some Manischewitz.
Anything.
That's some sugary screw top wine.
Yep.
Yes, it is.
All right, here we go.
All right.
Come on.
Do
Hit
your
it.
thing.
Why isn't it working?
There you go.
Whoa! Yeah! thank you for joining us for season 21, episode 20 of Happy Jack's RPG Podcast. My name is Stu.
My name is Kimmy.
I'm Jim.
I am Mike.
And thank you, and I won't see you, but Kimmy and many other people will see you at StrategicCon next weekend at Gamex 2018. Thank you for coming in again.
Thank you for having me.
And you guys are welcome to come in. Just let me know when you want to come in. I'll bump people. That's fine.
Yeah, he kicks it.
Just
And Tappy will want to be here because I want to hear the stories of the actual true stories, not his
You
embellishments.
know what? Here's something that I'd love to do. I'd love to bring Al and Tappy in here with you and me
Man.
and tell all those goddamn stories of how we tortured that man.
All right.
It wasn't intentional, just got out that way. We need Eli P for that because he was way better.
Oh yeah, he was.
All right. Thank you very much. We'll leave you the song.
Yep. Bye, guys.
Happy Jack's podcast will be douchebag song.
It rises in the morning most days before I do. Up pops its red head, saying time to get up. Me lady complains at its early insistence. She cries from our bed, begging it to let up.
Me cock, oh good Lord, me cock is the thing of which I'm most proud.
It's goodly intent, by midday is spent.
Me cock is the thing of which I'm most proud.
While others may say mine is old and unsightly, it bears a full burden when packed good and tight. Through thick and through thin, it is always behind me, though its hair gains a stench if left wet overnight.
Me ass, oh good Lord, me ass is the thing of which I'm most proud.
Its purpose is clear, it brings up the rear.
Me ass is the thing of which I'm most proud.
Well, I have a beauty that no man can equal. With eyes black as ravens, your will she could bend. Her hair is spun gold and her teeth are quite healthy. She comes when I call her, she's this man's best friend.
Me bitch, oh good Lord, me bitch is the thing of which I'm most proud.
She's the muse of this bard and she shits in the yard.
Me bitch is the thing of which I'm most proud.
No, my cat is fairer than any you've heard of. I have to admit, it is not mine alone. Though I pet it and stroke it and play with it often, I do so and only my lady condones.
Me pussy, me mistress's pussy is the thing of which I'm most proud.
Its hair is soft silk and it laps up me milk. Me call, me
Is the thing of which I'm most proud.
The preceding program has been a presentation of the Angry Folk Media Empire.
Why problem make when you no problem have you don't want to make?
I can't believe these men may control the fate of the Middle East.
You right.
How's that for a topper?